What?
What do you want to do today?
Podcast.
You want to do a podcast?
Yes.
With who?
With you?
You like podcasts now?
Yeah.
All right.
The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yes, Earthling Podcast, coming to you December 8th, 2022. In a little bit a week since the last episode. I think it's been a week, right? I haven't done a soul show in a while either. This is the first soul show I've done in a week and a half. How you guys doing? Changed a little bit there. Changed up a little bit. No, that's not official. That's not officially new theme music. I'm going to run through some different tracks on the intro, outro of this podcast in the next coming episodes, see how I feel. Of course, this podcast, all podcast catchers, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcast, Amazon Music. But mostly, folks, especially, folks, please subscribe. Smash the follow button, the subscribe button, whatever how they call on there. My YouTube page at Ernest EJ Christian. We are growing that daily. I appreciate you guys, all your support. If I sound tired, I am really tired. But I gotta get this in, man. Gotta get this in. But yeah, I am 42 years old. Feel like I'm 55. Look like I'm 25. Thank God. Yeah, I know. I'm a handsome motherfucker. It's okay. No big deal. Nah, but for real. I have a couple concerns. When it comes to my health, of course. As I get to this thing called life, mid-40s coming up soon. Obviously you're not getting younger. You gotta check the pulse, make sure things are good. And some days feel good. Some days feel really good. And others feel like shit. And it is what it is. But lately I've been feeling more of the latter. Feeling like crap. And I got a couple concerns about certain things. Yesterday, actually Monday and then Tuesday as well, I had a massive allergy attack again, which is, it's been a common theme on this podcast. You guys know this already. I get allergy attacks pretty common, for the most part, and depending on how big they are, they tend to take the wind out of me for a good 24 hours after that. Like today was rough. I had a massive allergy attack on Monday. Tuesday, I walked around with my left eye was all blurry and red, and I was kind of weak the entire day. I took some meds, not late night, but about 9 o'clock. No, Tuesday, 9 o'clock on Tuesday. Thinking, I took some allergy meds. Drowsy put me to sleep, and maybe the next morning I'll feel fine. Took some magnesium with it too as well. Decided not to do a podcast either. It's weird because like Tuesday nights I typically do the Huddle podcast with the football podcast I do every week with Big Jim and James Deese and Kyle Nash and Matthew Elizen, and we do that for an hour and a half. We decided we didn't do the show on Tuesday night because of technical issues. We actually ended up doing the show last night. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I had planned to record this podcast at some point on Tuesday, but number one, my youngest son rather, had stayed home sick. He was sick. He's been sick all week actually, bad cough, and so he's been home since Monday. And normally I do the podcast on Tuesday mornings. Couldn't do that because he's around, and really he won't give me time, even an hour myself to record this, even 30 minutes myself to record the show. So, and then Tuesday night I was just feeling out of it. It's like, you know what, let me just reset. We'll do this on Wednesday. Whatever, see what happens. Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. And then it's all day Wednesday. I was just feeling like crap. I just felt like the wind took it out of me. Woke up in the morning and just didn't feel good. You know, a lot of concerns with my health, man. I'm a little concerned, and I think one of my biggest goals of to start the year 2023, as we're a couple weeks away from 2023, is to really start staying on top of that, my health, everything else of that nature. And first I got to go see a doctor because there's a possibility. I don't know. I'm not saying it is fact, but some of the symptoms are there. I might be pre-diabetic. I'm not sure. I got to check that first. As you listen to you see the title of this episode, for example, you know, it says Die-Uh-Bet-Ick. I'm sure some of y'all, when you read that title of this episode, you see what the fuck did he put there? Die-Uh-Bet-Ick. Diabetic. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because I don't know. I'm not gonna say I am. I don't know, but I think at very least I'm probably pre-diabetic. And I you know, again, with me and the way I eat, I could eat better. My biggest issue, honestly, when it comes to like food or whatever, because I had like I said saying for the last couple of years of the podcast, I've been doing intermittent fasting for a while now. It's worked for me. I mean, I've had some days where I slipped and fall at times, fall off the wagon a little bit, where like I'll eat later than I'm supposed to and all that. For example, tonight, but tonight was weird because my kids want to go to sleep, and last night rather, kids want to go to sleep. So I was starving, and I was like, I gotta eat something, So whatever. With that, yeah, but I'm not really proud of that. But my biggest issue is sodas, man. I still have an issue with sodas. Drink too much soda still. I need to stop. I really do. That's the lonely road to a place where you don't want to be at when it comes to health. That's the one thing that they say. If you cut sodas out, for example, man, you cut sodas out in your diet, you're going to be way ahead of the curve of getting ahead. And but I need to work on that. So I don't know. I'm concerned about the health. I'm concerned. I mean, I'm going to go see a doctor probably in the beginning of the year and try to get myself back in a better place, health wise, where I am, drinking more water and being healthier. Because again, my biggest fear, dying. Of course, I don't want to die. But we're all gonna, we're all gonna die at some point in our lives. That's let's accept that for what it is. I said before in the past, my biggest fear is dying young and not being able to see my kids grow up and become adults and go to school, but go to college and get married and have their own kids and be able to be a grandfather some down the road. That's the part that frightens me more than anything else. And if I don't get myself in order, I may be shortening that. So, I'm gonna prioritize, that going to doctor, seeing a doctor, making sure health is in place, and if I have things I need to improve on and change up, I'm gonna do so. That's the goal here. But I don't know. I'm just lately it's one of those things where 42 years old. I'm closer to 43. 43 is kind of like you're inching into the middle of the 40s now. And look, I'm not saying it's old, but again, you're not getting that time back, man. That's why it's you need to make sure you got your ducks in a row, man. Especially with your health. Health is wealth, bro. Health is wealth. Ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves, please. All y'all, take care of yourselves, please. That's all I can say. That's all I can say to you guys. So last week, Tuesday, I was one of many people who got honored at my job. For the first time in a while, they did a ceremony honoring people who've been at this place of employment for over 10 years. In my case, I've been there for 19 years, almost 20 years. Next year, it'll be 20 years. And it was kind of cool. Like they've honored in the past too. Well, like I know back in the last time I got honored for something was when I hit the 10-year mark. And I remember got a couple gift cards, from Best Buy, I think it was, and some other things. And it was really cool. But they haven't done anything like that of that nature in a decade. And they even acknowledged that. Like, we haven't done this in a while, and we want to start bringing this back again. So hit the 19-year mark, and it was kind of cool to be appreciated by, my job. Now, as many of us that worked there, like, one of the cool things about my job, especially too, is that there are many people who've worked there a very long time. Like, I'm not that special. Like, as long as I've been there, I ain't that special. Like, it's that place is really, really hard to really Like, if you do a good job and you just, show some loyalty and all that kind of stuff, you will be there a very, very, very long time. I mean, there are people there who have been there, like, longer than I've been alive. Like, there was like 2 employees, for example, that were there, that started working there in 1974. I wasn't even born yet. I wasn't even close to be born yet. I was still 6 years off. Many people have been there in the 80s who was hired in the 80s and a bunch in the 90s, and me in the 2000s, of course, people like me. But it was cool. Like, I got a certificate, I got some money. They obviously the luncheons had some good food. It was a nice time. It's a nice time to be appreciated by somewhere where, like I've said in the past, I love my job. I love where I work at. I love the people I work with. Right from my bosses all the way down to the employees. And I'm blessed to be somewhere where I know when I go to work, like if I don't want to go to work, it's because I'm just not feeling up to it. Not because I'm going to a place I don't like. Like I said, you have jobs and once in a while you go to a place and like, at least when I go to my job, at least I'm doing something that I enjoy. And because I'm a people person, especially too, because I'm very much an extrovert and I'm a lot of people around people, and especially in the industry I'm in, poker, it's great. It's just fantastic. Like you never know what you're gonna encounter that day. You never know who you're gonna meet. And that's one of the cool things of my job, especially too, as a poker dealer, is that when you meet people, like you're meeting different people, like you have the core people that you see every day, obviously, because this is what they do. They want to play poker every day, which is fine. But then you'll meet people who have never seen before. If you're open to it, you can get some backstories and learn about their life a little bit and whatnot. You get to see a diverse amount of people, whether it's through race or age, gender, doesn't matter. And that's one of the cool things about where I work at, is that you meet such a gamut of different people, and it's a great thing. It really is a great thing. I've been in 19 years now, and just reflect on that. After the ceremony last week, and I love it. I love being there. I'm so appreciative of my job, and are there things that you can do better? Yeah, absolutely. Anywhere you work at, but I've always said, man, the pros. 19 years later, the pros still outweigh the cons. Still, I'm truly grateful for being where I'm at. So, some political news here. We had the Georgia Senate runoff a couple days ago. Very contentious race. Obviously these two, Raphael Warnock and Hershel Walker. A month ago. Obviously in Georgia, if you don't get 50% of the vote, you go to runoff. Warnock led 49% to Walker's 48%, I think it was, and then the Libertarian, whatever his name is, had 2% of the vote, and no one got 50%. So they had a runoff, second runoff in 2 years, and Warnock wins re-election. This will be his first full term officially, because remember he got elected in 2020 rather, and then I think he was completing another the senator who's going to seat filling the seat there, and now he's going to have the full his first full term of 6 years, starting this coming 2023. He defeated Hershel Walker in the runoff, and not by a wide margin, but a wider margin I thought it was going to be. I think he got, last I checked, was 51.5% of the vote versus Walker 48.4%. So it's about 3% of the vote there. And this is my message here to Republicans here. Losing in another Senate race in a state where your governor actually dominated Stacey Abrams not even a month ago by nearly 9 points. Here's a lesson here again. If we didn't learn this during the midterms a month ago, if you put up bad candidates, you're going to fucking lose. Stop putting stupid candidates up. People like me who are MPAs. You want us to vote Republican again? Stop putting up guys like Hershel Walker, who has no fucking clue what he's doing, what he's saying. Okay? I honest to God, I'll say it again. I honest to God believe he has CTE. Some things he was saying made no sense. I don't want to think the guy's dumb. Okay, but at the same time, some things he said made no freaking sense whatsoever. Okay, so the thing you think of is CTE. He played in the NFL for many years. He played running back, which is a position where you definitely get a lot of the effects of CTE, especially in an era where he played in, where it wasn't safety, wasn't really something that was prioritized back then. It would not shock me because he has CTE. Some things he was saying, through his campaign, and it's a bad look when your son Christian Walker, and we spoke about this on the podcast back in October, who I don't like for the record. That's it's a Trump grifter. Okay, calling him out again for the second time in a month and a half, or 2 months rather. Calling him out, his own dad out for running for the Senate seat, saying that Trump called him and he should have said no, and he decided not to. He decided to do it because he wanted the fame for this and all that. And from what his son said, look, I don't know the ins and outs of the Walker family. I don't know what's real, what's not real. I'm not going to sit there and speculate on their issues. There's clearly a lot of issues between father and son there, and what Hershel's done and been accused of through the years and all that. But clearly, it's not a home. It's clearly not a stable home. And what bothers me too, also, like, we know Warnock won it by 3%. In a fairly decent margin. But it still boggles my mind that 48% of that state still voted for him. It boggles my mind. Like I can understand voting for Brian Kemp. Voting for a Republican that's quieter and don't have the baggage as Herschel Walker does. But to vote for Herschel Walker, it boggles my mind that it's own the libs. That's all I care about. Own the libs. So I'm vote for this guy. And again, I can understand you. I can totally understand you. Being policy wise against Raphael Warnock and being a difference with Raphael Warnock. But what does Herschel Walker bring to the table? What policies bring to the table? I remember watching some of those debates they were doing. I didn't see anything on policy that he brought up that even remotely felt. I don't know. I just don't understand how people can vote for that guy. It boggles my mind. This is less about Republican Democrat and more about a guy that clearly, and I mean clearly, is not fit to run shit, to run a football team for crying out loud, to run to run a school for crying out loud. You want to be a senator? And 40% of those people, over 40% of the people in that state said, yeah, we're good with that. We're good with that. What? Are you kidding me? And again, this is not a Republican Democrat thing. You guys know where I stand. I'm an MPA. I'm a centrist. I know which annoys a lot of people, I'm sure. But Herschel Walker, the things you're saying, you're really okay with that? Willing to check mark that in the voting booth? It makes no fucking sense. It really does not. I don't get it. I really don't. All right, total baseball. Off season time. We're in meetings, you name it. Let's start with New York Mets first. The New York Mets have had a very active, active off season, if you will. Obviously, the big story this week or the last couple of days is Jacob DeGrom deciding to leave the Mets, as a free agent, and sign a 6-year deal with the Texas Rangers, totaling $180 million for 6 years. But then the Mets also, get Justin Verlander a couple days later, 2-year deal worth $84-ish million, I think it was. I'm going to say this as a Met fan myself. I'm going to say this. First, DeGrom. Did I want to lose DeGrom? Not really. And again, I'm older now, so I'm not going to sit here and say, money and, It's not my money. I'm not paying him. So what the fuck I care how much money Steve Cohen gives him. I don't care. But I do understand the logic. I know DeGrom won his money, and I'm happy he got his money. I'm happy he got the bag because it's probably going to be his last chance to cash big. He's 31 years old, I think now, 31, 32, and he's already injury prone. He had how many starts had last year? He played his first game till late July, early August last season. And I say that recognizing that he is probably still the best pitcher in baseball when healthy, but that comes at a price. So I understood the Mets having a ceiling. They wanted to pay a guy, a long-term deal for a guy that is probably going to not start more than maybe 50 to 60% of the starts that he'll be available for that contract. I totally get that. That's why, even though I'm sad he's gone, I wasn't broken up about him leaving. I told you guys on the podcast, I told you guys back in July that the likelihood of him leaving the team was pretty high. We were hearing rumors about him wanting to go back down south again. Now, down south meant what? The Braves, the Marlins, obviously the Rangers, maybe the Astros. Who knows if they want to take a stab at him? So we're not too surprised that he's gone. I'm not surprised. I didn't think he'll come back. It always felt to me that even with the Mets having the season they had last year, prior to the late season collapse, of course, it did feel like he had one foot out the door. And again, that's his right. He's allowed to do that. What really pissed me off last week, though, was seeing some of these Met fans. Some of them I'm friends with, or quote unquote friends with, and some of the reactions to this. I know one guy was saying that hope his arm fell off down for getting paid. This guy's in his 50s. Like, really? Like, grow up, dude. It's a business. He did what's best for his family. What was best for him. Who cares? I love how people rationalize. I love how people, because they're sports fans, quote unquote, they love to rationalize someone else's situation instead of their own. It boggles my mind how people are just like that. Look, it's a business, dude. He knew what he wanted. The Mets were willing to offer that. Another team offered what he wanted, long-term security, and a bigger contract. The Mets had a ceiling, and that's it. And we move on. And for me personally, as a guy who owns a Jacob DeGrom jersey here at home, I'm thankful for the 6, 7 years, 8 years he's been here. Great years. Went to World Series with him also as one of the pillars of the team in 2015. Grateful for him being here. As a Met fan, I'm okay with it because, hey, look, this is a guy that he's probably not going to get any better. And I say that only because of the fact that he just can't stay healthy. That's just what it is. His value to the team is only valuable when he's actually available for the team. So I get that. But some of these fans need to fucking chill, dude. I mean, you don't own the guy. Like, be grateful he was here. Understand that he did what's best for him. Take care of you first. It's a business, man. Be mad about him leaving, but to sit there and say, "Oh, hope his arm falls off." Like, stop, grow the fuck up, seriously. So, in return, the Mets do sign Justin Verlander, a man that won the Cy Young last year, won the World Series last year too in Houston. A man, though, however, is 39 years old, turning 40. He'll be 40 about opening day, I believe. And everybody's saying, "Oh, why would you sign a guy this old?" Well, here's the thing. This is why I was okay with the signing. I said this, a couple of friends of mine, I was telling this, prior, that if the ground walks, Verlander is a good option. People saying, "Oh, I don't know, he's a little older." But here's the thing. The window, the championship window for the Mets going into last year was really 2 to 3 years anyway. Like, when you sign Max Scherzer, what you're saying is that we're going to try to win a title within the next 2 years. 3 max. And it's assuming you get DeGrom. Now, DeGrom, obviously being here long-term, would have possibly kept them in a little longer. depending on how the team looked beyond the 2 years. But if you lose DeGrom and you still want to compete for titles, that's Verlander, even at age 40, is worth the risk. People say, "Oh, it's $84 million." Doesn't matter. The guy's the money to spend. Let him spend it. And only that, it's not like he's on the hook for fucking $40 million a year beyond 2024. It's a 2-year contract. That's all it is. 2-year contract. And then you're done. So if you bring a guy like Verlander, again, just won the World Series last month. Okay, just won a Cy Young last month. It's still one of the best pitchers in baseball, even at his age. Even if you get one great year out of Verlander out of 2 years, that's a success. Okay? Again, it's not a long-term deal. It also allows the Mets to develop guys on the back end in the farm system right now. It keeps the championship window open for the Mets for the next 2 years. Look, they may not win the title. I mean, to be honest, the likelihood of winning the title is probably still slim to none. But it at least keeps the option open. At least keeps the window open for a little bit to compete. So I have no problem with the Mets did here. This is the only option you had, really, and it addresses the window. It keeps the team competitive for another year or two. I'm okay with that. I have no problem with lose DeGrom again for Verlander. And who knows in 2 years what the Mets will be staff-wise. We'll see. We will see. Sticking to baseball in New York, Aaron Judge has officially decided to stick with the New York Yankees. 9 years, $360 million later. He is still a Yankee. I was joking around earlier with some friends of mine that, I think it's possible that, the old legend himself, George Steinbrenner, old owner of the Yankees, who passed away, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, haunted his cheap-ass kids, the Steinbrenner kids themselves, his kids that run the team currently, haunted his kids that told him, sign this dude or else. Haunted him. And they did the right thing. They did the right thing. I'm surprised still. I had San Francisco as the team he was going to go to. In fact, the rumors there was rumors that, in fact, there was an offer on the table for allegedly the Giants had offered the same exact contract, I think for 10 years, I believe, at 360, or maybe it was 9 years. I'm not sure exactly. Similar contract. Apparently, San Diego was in the running last minute too, also, and supposedly offer a 10-year, $400 million contract. And Aaron Judge decided to take the 1 year less to the Yankees. I respect that, of course, because of course, being a Yankee, there's a lot of, being a Yankee. There comes a lot of attachment. It comes out with a lot of flair to that too, especially. So you look at that also, not just with making the money you make with the Yankees, the endorsements also too. It's wide ranging because of being a Yankee. But yeah, I'm so surprised that he stayed. I'm really surprised he stayed. I am. I am totally surprised. I thought San Francisco was going to sign him. I thought the Yankees was going to cheapen out and not pay the guy. But I'm happy Aaron Judge. He deserves it. He's a great kid. I'm not a Yankee fan, obviously. I hate the Yankees, but Aaron Judge is a great dude. He really is. Let's get some NFL talk, some pigskin talk. No picks show this week. Again, things schedule went a little haywire this week with the kid being sick, and I really wanted to do a solo show more than anything else. I was willing to let go of the picks show this week to do it. But I want to talk about the Super Bowl bubble, because we're now about 5 weeks away from the end of the regular season. The playoffs begin. We are definitely in what I call the pennant of football. We've passed Thanksgiving. So we're down to the final stretch. Teams to make the push for the playoffs, division titles, #1 seeds, wild card berths. Who knows where we're at? And obviously, we got a lot. It's been a very weird season, very competitive season. But you're starting to see teams. You're starting to see tiers develop now to where there's a certain tier. We know who the worst teams in football are. Like, you see my power rankings this week. I actually revealed them on the Whole Lot podcast last night. My bottom 5, you see who the worst teams in the league right now currently are going to week 14. You do definitely see the mediocrity, the middle of the room. You're starting to see now also a tier of teams that I believe are right now in the Super Bowl bubble, I call it. Okay. Basically, my Super Bowl is this. If I have a number of teams, I believe, if I imagine, can I see this team? Can I see this X team playing in February for the Super Bowl? The answer is yes or no. Okay. Right now, my Super Bubble currently has 6 teams. The 6 teams are the following. The Philadelphia Eagles are in my bubble. The Buffalo Bills are in my bubble. The Kansas City Chiefs are in my bubble. The Cincinnati Bengals are in my bubble. The Dallas Cowboys are in my bubble. And the 6th team is the San Francisco 49ers are in my bubble. People say, oh, what about the Minnesota Vikings? The Minnesota Vikings! You know. At 10-2, they're impressive. Kirk Cousins having another good year. He's a good quarterback. Top 16, top 13, 12 quarterback in the league. I'm not going to argue that. I just can't trust him, man. Can't trust him. Sorry. Can't trust the Vikings. Not yet. I think they're on the fringe, though. I can't trust them. There's something about that team, that franchise, that even when they play well, can you just, can you put the pulse on it? Can you see them in the Super Bowl? It's not that I can't see them in the Super Bowl. I guess I could see that happening. The problem is, I believe the 3 teams in the NFC I mentioned ahead of them, Cowboys, Niners, Eagles, I believe are better than the Vikings are. I think if they play any of those 3 teams right now, the teams that they're playing, the opponent will beat them. Dallas, which I beat them 43 this year. Eagles may beat them this year too. Also, the Niners I haven't played them yet, but I'm confident Niners, even with Brock Purdy, will beat them. I'm there. The AFC side, the Bengals entered the bubble last week after the win of the Chiefs last week. The Bengals are. I said a couple weeks ago, the Bengals going to win a heater. Not if Joe Burrow is appendicitis is passed now, and Lions got the offensive Lions can play much better now too. Especially, they have one of the best rosters in football, in my opinion. And now Jamar Chase is back, especially too. They can stay healthy. They are a problem for the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs 3 times in the last calendar year. We gotta look at that, man. We have to look at that and really respect that. For all the talk, they can't beat the Browns, which by the way I think they will end that this week. For some reason, they own the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes. And I think Joe Burrow also, too, to stay on the subject of the Bengals, is on the cusp of becoming an elite quarterback. I think he's at the cusp. I think it's like 3 quarterbacks in the league that are elite, in my opinion. Maybe 4. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Josh Allen. And even though he's in a rough year, I'll still say Aaron Rodgers. I think Joe Burrow is the 4th guy. There's no order, of course. This is what I believe in that bubble. The Niners I still trust despite Brock Purdy. I think Jimmy G's out for the year, but again with Jimmy G, this team has been built around Jimmy G anyway. This team is built around a great solid roster around the quarterback. Insert quarterback here, as long as you don't fuck up, they're good. As long as the team don't fuck up, they're good. The quarterback doesn't fuck up, they're good. Jimmy G, Trey Lance, doesn't matter. Tom Brady. I think the Niners are fine. As long as Brock Purdy stays with the system. This is why I think Kyle Shanahan's the top 5 coach in the league. Because he knows how to get the best out of less at that position. He did it with Matt Ryan in Atlanta. Did it with Jimmy G here in San Francisco. I think Brock Purdy is not bad. And he'll have 5 weeks to get the job done and to prove to folks that he could be maybe the next quarterback for the Niners. If we'll talk about Trey Lance and Jimmy G's now hurt, he may not come back to the team again. We'll see. Although there's rumors of him being able to play in the playoffs. Who knows? Brock Purdy has a perfect opportunity here to become the guy in San Francisco. Of course, Buffalo, Josh Allen. They lose Von Miller for the year. That's going to hurt a little bit. But it's Josh Allen bust anyway in Buffalo. And again, they need home field advantage. Currently the number 1 seed in the AFC by virtue of the tiebreaker over the Chiefs. But they need home field advantage. Because Buffalo is a tough place to play. And when they're good and they're hosting home playoff games, they're going to be a problem, boy. They're going to be a problem. Obviously Philadelphia, most complete team in football, probably on both sides of the ball. I think Jalen Hurts right now at this point is a he might be the leading candidate for MVP right now. Certainly, it's a two-man race between him and Pat Mahomes, and Joe Burrow is coming in quick as the third guy in the race. But I think Jalen Hurts might be the front runner for MVP right now. He has been the most consistent of all the quarterbacks this year. And even after the little flub the last couple weeks, losing to Washington, almost losing to Indianapolis, with Jeff Saturday on a Sunday. Jalen Hurts has been the most consistent quarterback of this league this year. And you guys know I can't stand the Eagles. I'm a Giants fan, obviously. Hope we win this weekend, although I don't see it happening. But Jalen Hurts is a fantastic human being. He's a great guy. I'm so glad the Eagles, all football allegiance aside, I'm so glad the Eagles stuck it out with him and stuck with it. Because remember last year, the playoffs, like, oh, maybe this guy's not the guy. Who was it on the podcast after that saying, me and Kyle Nash, the first show after that wild card loss to the Bucs last year, saying that give the Eagles some time here. Give Jalen Hurts some time. Let him learn from the situation. And boy, has he come out guns blazing. Again, I'm not an Eagles fan, but I am damn sure a big Jalen Hurts fan. Speaking of quarterbacks, we still, the Lamar Jackson debate rages on. A buddy of mine texted me, and we had a conversation on social media the last couple weeks about Lamar Jackson. He thinks he sucks. He thinks he's not elite. And I told him, I never said Lamar's elite, but if you don't think he's a top 10 quarterback in the league, you're smoking something. Lamar Jackson's a top 10 quarterback in the league because his bottom line, he makes his team better. If I'm not mistaken, I have a number in front of me, but if I'm not mistaken, he has won 70% of the games that he started for Baltimore. Okay? He does have a playoff win, by the way, too. Is he Josh Allen? No. Is he the best? He's a good arm. He has a really good arm. He probably should throw the ball a little more. I mean, I understand Lamar Jackson and the way he plays football is a little bit unorthodox to most because we're so used to seeing the Tom Brady's and the Matt Ryans and the Eli Mannings and pocket passers and stuff. But the league is changing, guys. The league is changing. Whether or not you get yards on the ground, yards in the air, are you winning football games? And look, and my buddy here, he brought Kyler Murray, like the Kyler Murray. Lamar Jackson is a much better quarterback than Kyler Murray. It's not even close. The better leader. Come on, stop all that noise. Look, is Lamar elite? No. Because I just mentioned that. The elite conversation. But it's only 3 or 4 guys that you can consider elite at this point. Okay? And if you want to say Tom Brady's still elite, go right ahead. 5. Okay? You're saying something that's, look, he's not elite right now, but it's fine. But is he top 10 in the league? Absolutely. And I think he's a snug top 10, honestly. Again, I know what's his face, the backup quarterback. His name was number 2. Number 2 for the Ravens. Let me look it up real quick. He had a great, comeback in that game against Denver on Huntley. Todd Huntley. Thank you. And I get it. But Todd Huntley's not winning you 8, 9, 10 plus games a year in Baltimore. At least we haven't seen it yet. Lamar, through 4 years, has done that. Lamar's MVP. Lamar's winning games in Baltimore. Lamar's won a playoff game already. Okay? Give this time to grow, man. Like, seriously. And the Kyler Murray comparison, stop, dude. That's not even accurate. More NFL stuff. Last NFL topic here. Odell Beckham Jr. Took meetings with the Giants last week. Took meetings with the Cowboys this week. I think he's met with Buffalo also too, I believe. But and I love OBJ, man. I really do. Great kid. I think he gets a bad rap sometimes. But I'm going to ask a question to you guys, and hopefully you guys will agree here. Should we actually care where he lands? Like, because now we're hearing things about he may not be available to the playoffs and that teams are worried about him not being fully healed yet from the injury, the ACL injury he suffered in the Super Bowl last year. I mean, if I'm Odell Beckham Jr., I mean, wrong. I'm not saying get your money, bro. Get your money, every last dollar, every last cent. But are you sure? Are we sure he's ready to play? I mean, seriously, I'm really curious. Like, is he ready to play? I don't know. Like, does he help Dallas? Does Dallas need him anyway? I don't think the Cowboys need him. They got Gallup, they got CeeDee Lamb, they got a good corner there. I don't think they need Beckham. I mean, you certainly will help him, sure. The Giants could really use him, but at the same time, the Giants are not that good. And I don't know if the Giants, I don't think it makes the Giants much better even being there just because of the fact that they have more holes in this receiver. So I don't know. I mean, if he goes to Buffalo, I'm pretty good. But then again, is he healthy? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, should we really care as much about him where he lands? I don't know. It feels like a LeBron free agency thing. But we don't even know how healthy this guy is. And I mean, look, I pray he is healthy. He's the league is better when he's involved. But I think I don't think we should care as much as we do about Odell Beckham's whereabouts and where he goes. But that's just me. College football playoff committee. College football playoff is all set. New Year's Day. The 4, as I did an unfiltered podcast right when they announced the playoff 4. You guys hear it again. 1 Georgia, 2 Michigan, 3 TCU, 4 Ohio State. They got it right, and they set the tables early. USC blew it. That's simple. Alabama doesn't deserve to get in. Much like I can't say Ohio State. Ohio State's a better resume than Alabama. Alabama has 2 losses and 1 for starters. And where the quality wins. They don't have any. I know people say, "Oh, Penn State." Ohio State beat Penn State. So what? Penn State's ranked number 8. Going into the week, I think a little bit lower now, 11 now, I think, or something like that. Even if Penn State being lower even in the top 15, bottom 15 rather, that's still better than what Alabama beat this year. So there's no argument for Alabama to get in the playoff. I'm sorry. Nick Saban going on TV. And look, you should do that and sell your team. But you know damn well your team didn't sort of get in there. Stop, Nick. Stop it. But yeah, they got it right. They also announced they're going to have the playoff in 2 years. The 12-team playoff officially in 2 years. Thank God. Can't wait. Cannot wait. Let's earn this shit in the field. Even if we know that we probably got the same 4 teams that'll be selected anyway, it's good to know that these teams have an opportunity to try to shake things up. I can't wait for 2 years from now. I cannot wait. Playoff. I'm all about the playoff. I don't care. Leave it on the field. I mean, I'm glad we have a playoff 4, but I'm happy we have a playoff 12 coming up very soon. Take a college football to the Heisman nominees have been announced. We do have 4 nominees. I think Stetson Bennett was 1. Caleb Williams is another 1. I don't remember. You know what? It doesn't even matter. Who gives a shit? Does anybody even care about the Heisman anymore? Honestly, does anyone actually care about the Heisman Trophy anymore? I'm really curious. I don't. I haven't cared for years about the Heisman Trophy. Honestly. Just don't care. That doesn't me. That's like a prick here, but I just don't care. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch it on TV. I'll get the results on my phone at 9 o'clock, 9:30 on Saturday night. It's cool. Just don't care. I mean, when was the last time the Heisman actually mattered? Like, really? I'm being serious here. As someone who loves college football, when's the last time the Heisman Trophy actually mattered? Like, better question. When's the last time you actually cared about the Heisman Trophy in a big way? Because I haven't cared about the Heisman Trophy probably since 2013, 2014. When I think James Winston won it 2013, 2014, and Marcus Mariota won 2015, I believe it was. In that order, I believe. Like, I haven't cared in a long time. Just don't care. But, that's just me. That's just me, though. I mean, you don't got to be me. But, I forgot the other 2 guys that were mentioned in the Heisman. That's how much I care about it. I don't even care about who else is mentioned in the Heisman race, if you will. Really. I mean, it is what it is, man. Like I said, I'll obviously applaud who wins. I'll show respect. I think Caleb Williams is going to win it still for USC, despite having that pedestrian game against Utah. Choke job. Not choking. I think someone would say choke because you guys got your asses kicked. But Kellen Williams has enough in the bag to say he deserves it. So as my son walks into the room here, I'm going to try to run through these final topics here before we get out of here. Not rapid fire, but just trying to get through it as I can. But now officially about a third of the way through the NBA season, and teams are now finally starting to settle into their real characteristics. Like you see the Lakers all of a sudden now playing a lot better as of late, although they lost 2 in a row as this recording. Although last night they didn't have LeBron and or AD. I'm not mistaken. I think Westbrook missed the game yesterday too in Toronto. So, excuse me, okay? All right. It's a bad cough there. He's been home for 4 days straight, actually. You see the Nets playing better all of a sudden now. The Nets are over 500 at least as this recording. I mean, maybe at 500 now, but they recovered a little bit since then. Obviously you see the runaways are now really in the league now are obviously the Celtics, obviously the Bucks. The Suns run away too. Also, the Suns have actually been a lot better than I thought they'd be this year. Honestly, I thought this would be a drawback here for the Z team. But clearly, it ain't going to happen. The Warriors playing better too, especially. So you have a lot of parity early. Remember, Utah had that fast start. Now they've drawn back down to earth again a little bit. Could they sustain and make a play in? I don't know. But what you're seeing here now is that teams starting to settle in at this point now. We got the Christmas, obviously. We get the Christmas games, and then we'll assess there. I'll do hopefully do a podcast on that with probably with my boys Zach and Chris at some point next week or so. We'll try to get that in if the schedule allows me to, because of course the holidays are a little bit tougher too, especially because when my kids are off school for 2 weeks, starting Christmas week through New Year's week. Excuse me, I can't get this cough. What the heck? I don't want to curse with my kid. But at the same time, we'll figure those things out going forward as it is. But like I said, the season starts settling now. And we'll have a lot to talk about basketball in months to come, obviously. The breaking news today, I woke up, Brittany Griner is free. Brittany Griner is free. The U.S. has made a trade. They traded arms dealer Victor, was it Holm? What's his name? Let me get his name right because I want to screw this up. Victor, prisoner swap. Victor, what's this guy's name? Hold on. Take the water. It's okay. Brittany Griner is free after over a year of being in a U.S. In camp and jail. And like I said, I'm ecstatic. She's free. I'm ecstatic. Give me a second. I'm trying to find a name here. I'm gonna get this right here. Give me 1 quick second. So the arms dealer, Russian arms dealer, is Victor Bout. Is the name of the dealer. Like I said, I am ecstatic she's home. Okay, I'm gonna have a measured conversation about this real quick because I think people are so into the political, armor when discussing these things. The right can't stand her because they think she's a anti-American who won't who will kneel for the flag and all that kind of stuff and is critical of the country. And then the left, of course, is going the other way with it and saying, like we got to bring it home. That's our, and I think we can. I mean, look, I know this annoys a lot of folks when I take a middle argument of this. This is not really a middle argument, to be honest with you. This is a common sense argument, really, to be honest with you. Like, both can be correct here. And this is how I feel about this. Like, you can be ecstatic that she's home, that Brittany Griner's coming home, but also feel comfortable that we traded a Russian arms dealer to make this happen. Both be right here. I think it's okay to have both feelings here. But because we're such in a polarized time where we can't even, it's such about the team, about the political positioning we have now, we can't see to get through that. And of course, the media plays a large part of that too. Also, I have folks there, saying how's it that when this started happening and Trump this and that. Look, we know. I think most sensible people, regardless of where they're politically affiliated with, agree that the media plays a large part of how we digest and interpret and then we give out, our opinions. Which is really sad because the media, at the end of the day, right, left, indifferent, all have agendas here. That's why I always tell you guys, think for yourself, dude. Think for yourself. That's why I wish we had one to two parties also. But that's a little argument. But it's okay to have both feelings here, it's okay to say, yes, I'm ecstatic she's home, but I'm also uncomfortable that we traded an arms dealer to get her. It's okay. It's quite okay. And that's all. I'll leave it like that at this point. Everything else is just what it is. Okay? So, congrats to Brittany Griner, her family, and all that. Glad she's home. Am I also a little bit, uncomfortable that we let go of a dangerous guy that could maybe hurt people in the future? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's okay. That's okay. All right? All right. One podcast recommendation here. Bill Maher. You guys know I'm a big fan of Bill Maher. Real-time Bill Maher every Friday on HBO. He actually has started a podcast recently within the last year, actually, called Club Random with Bill Maher. It's kind of it's a weekly interview type of thing, kind of like Joe Rogan, but, I had started listening to the show a couple months ago. I listened to one episode with Killer Mike back when. It was a really good one. But I didn't stick with it. Like, some of the guests he had on there I really didn't care for, honestly. But then I got back on the wagon. I told you guys I've been using YouTube as my one of my main, content. When I take in content, especially YouTube's been my number one place to take it in. Not just also with random shows and stuff I was watching YouTube in general, but also even the podcasts I typically listen to that I want to get in bite size. So I randomly, no pun intended, I randomly some of the recent episodes he's had. With Stephen A. Smith, which I thought was a fantastic interview. And he also had on Dave Rubin, who's some guy I hit or miss with. He's a former liberal. Now he says he's not conservative, but come on now, the guy's a conservative. He's a conservative. He's a pro, right wing guy. I sometimes think he was a grifter, but I will say this much: I listened to the interview with Dave Rubin, over 2 hours. Bill Maher. And the cool thing about Bill Maher, also, especially too, with the setup with this also too, it's very laid back. Also, like they smoke weed down there, they drink alcohol, whatever, they cuss, they do this and that. It's very Roganish in the sense of the conversation, but it's also very open. It's very it's very laid back. Like I say, you smoke weed, drink beer, da da da. I'm actually watching the interview with Kid Rock that he just did a couple weeks ago. The Stephen A. Smith episode is fantastic. Actually, to be honest with you, they get into politics, they get into. It's funny. Bill Maher was saying that he wanted this to be something. Talking about he wanted the show to be about the person, and the mission of the show was to go away from the politics. And yet, the last couple episodes, all you see is more political talk. Which for the record, I think is great because I think also, politics is a part of our lives now. I know people say we can't talk about politics, religion. Screw all that shit. I'm the anti that. I'm okay with opening up and being honest. If that's something you're interested in or passionate about, whatever, it should be okay to talk about those kind of things. I think it really should. It's okay to talk about those kind of things. So, Club Random Bill Maher, my podcast recommendation of the week. Maybe this is a weekly thing here. My home recommendation of the week and all that. Anyway, some positive stuff here. I've been, we're closing into the holidays. I'll tell you what, man. Maybe it's just me getting old and maybe getting soft, but playing to Christmas music, especially the oldies, man, it brings me so much joy in my life. Like, there's so much negative in the world now. That's when I play Bing Crosby and Sinatra and Jackson 5 and James Brown's Christmas albums, T. Wonder, and even some of the modern stuff like I can play. Every time I play Christmas music, man, I always seem to be in a good mood. And I think this really got a thing for me in the last couple of years with COVID. That so much negative. The political sphere has been negative. Everything's negative in general. That, now as my son comes walking in the room, it's okay. It's been really, really cool, and it has a certain it sells my soul. I don't know what it is. It's I know it sounds weird and awkward and just, but lately when I play Christmas music, it's just I feel like a good spirit upon me. It's such a positive thing. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know. Maybe just me getting old and whatever, but I like my wife and I we bought a tree on Monday, and we came home and started working on some parts of the tree. We're not done the tree yet, by the way, but we started working on the tree, and we were playing oldies, Christmas music. I'm a guy that loves the 40s and 50s oldies music of yesteryear. I think it's just so genuine and authentic. So, like, I don't know, it's been such great joy in my life, and the kids love it, and my wife loves it especially too. So, like, I want this month to go slow because I want to take in the holiday spirit. I really do. So, anyway, what else on the dock here? I need to save a shit ton of money in the next year because next year I got a lot going on. Got trips to plan. I got family trips I want to plan next year. My brother's bachelor party is in May. His wedding is also later in the year on location of the wedding, on destination wedding, should I say. Such a lot of stuff coming on. I need to really lock in and save money and just kind of get into that mindset of, okay, 2023 is going to be a very productive year for me. At least I hope so. That's the plan. But man, inflation makes things hard. Bills don't go away. Kids have things to do. Kids have things to school. This and that. Always something comes up last minute that you don't plan for. Whether it's a flat tire here or car issue here or something here. Something in general, a health thing here. So, but 2023 is going to be a year I need to really try my hardest to save a shit ton of money to do the things I need to do to make it a productive year. So we'll see how that goes. I have to get my passport, renewed. And honestly, it's not even renewed. I think the rules after 10 years, your passport, you basically need a new passport. I haven't used my passport in 22 years. Honestly, I left the country 22 years. Since 2000 when it turned that. So there's that. That's one of the things that I got to work on in the next coming months and whatnot. All right, before I get out of here, announcement here. I have a new weekly basketball podcast coming starting next week. It is called And One with EJ. Now, here's the thing. It will not be on this feed, okay? We'll still talk about the things we talk about on this feed, basketball, whatever I always do here. But I'm doing a short weekly basketball exclusive podcast on the feed of the Huddle Up podcast. As you guys know, I joined that show every single Tuesday. I'm going to be contributing also a weekly show. It's going to be very short and simple. Probably going to be a 10. Honestly, I'm being straight with you guys. It's going to be probably a 10 to 20 minute episode a week show. And basically very simple. Laying out 5 things that stood out to me, 5 stories that stand out to me that week in the NBA. Okay? Very simple. It'll be on the Huddle Up feed. So if you're interested in listening to my basketball analysis, especially to subscribe, of course, to the Huddle Up podcast. You should do it anyway because, number one, I'm on there every Tuesday. I'm part of the panel every Tuesday talking football with Big Jim and Kyle Nash and Matthew Leisen. And you just subscribe there. But I'm going to drop those shows every Wednesday morning, I believe. Wednesday mornings. I think so. We agreed on, me and Jim. But check it out, man. Look out for that. It's going to start next week. I was hoping to do it this week, but next week we're going to drop those episodes on the feed. Also, another thing I'll be working on, I am planning on creating more original content on YouTube next year in 2023. That's the 2023 is going to be a big year for me. I'm going to, one of my plans is to do a YouTube exclusive show. I'm looking at doing possibly a reaction show to things, videos and music and, sports and whatever it may be. That's the running plan. I have not decided when to start the show yet. While they're working on particulars now, my wife is going to be involved with a lot of this stuff too, especially. It's definitely going to be reaction videos, but it will also be exclusive to YouTube, as well as we continue to expand this thing here we do with content. So, and again, also, I was hoping to get this done by the holidays, but it won't happen. But merchandising is coming next year as well too. As I said, it's the theme of 2023 here, and as we end this podcast, I am working on doing merchandising in 2023. Working on some shirt ideas, some mugs, and maybe other things of that nature. But that's coming. My wife and I, like I said, my wife is a lot more involved now when it comes to behind the scenes here at Earnestly podcast and things we do here of that nature. So again, 2023 merchandising is coming to Earnestly podcast. For all you fans of the show, I'll let you guys know once things are ready, set to release. Other than that, that is it for me. I am on Twitter at eachperson7. Earnestly podcast, across all podcast catchers. As my son wants to say hi, everybody, before I go. Say hi. Say hi. Talk.
Hi. Me? I don't want to add that thing in here.
Whatever that means. So, again, Earnestly podcast, all podcast catchers. Summit on Twitter. We will talk soon. And until then, stay up, stay positive. Until next episode. Later.